Welcome to Living Your Path. I am Cecile Ferry, a coach and astrologer. I'm here to guide you on how to live and work in alignment with your true self so you can find fulfillment and serenity. Hello my beautiful people, and welcome to your Cosmic Catch-Up for week commencing the 27th of July. So I can't believe as I'm saying this that we are at the end of July. But what a ride July has been astrologically, and it's going to end on a bang just to finish off nicely. And not that August will be easier because August is eclipse season. So just a heads up, this is a big episode. There is lots going on, but you're in the right place to understand it and to make the most of it. So let's start with the first good news. Have you noticed how much better and easier life is now that Mercury retrograde is over? I certainly have. I mean, we take this for granted that when you set a date or an appointment, it happens. But after Mercury retrograde, I have that special appreciation for things running smoothly. So now Mercury is still in Cancer, so our conversations have got that emotional dimension to them. I think we actually need that because right now everything else is fire and air, which is intense, right? And very yang. So thank goodness we have Mercury in Cancer to kind of give us a little bit of watery relief in the middle of that. Now, the other thing that just happened is Saturn moved retrograde in Aries. So it's normal. All the planets do that about halfway through the year. So Neptune moved retrograde a couple of weeks ago. Now Saturn is doing it, and it will be moving, so to speak, backwards, slowing down until the 10th of December. So this is important because it's a big planet this year. Saturn moved into Aries and formed a conjunction with Neptune in February, and that was a big, major astrological event for the year. Not that maybe your life changed exactly on that day, but it was the seeding point of a new transformation in your life, in the area of life where that conjunction happened. I would say, for instance, for me, it has taken until really March, up until now, to really start building this new chapter. And now we're marking a pause in that build. So Saturn is going retrograde, means we are turning inwards and we are integrating and we are refining. It's not a waste of time. It's actually really important. We are going to be tweaking and redefining what it is that we're building and how we're building it, and in particular our commitment, our responsibilities, and our boundaries, right? So the difference is because the energy is inward, we are building our internal capacity for that change. So in the last few months, we may have built the outward side of it. I definitely have. And now we're going to be doing kind of the inner job of it and get clear on the kind of person we need to be, and especially what sort of boundaries we need to put in place. Is there any skill that we need to learn? Like what resources do we need? And where do we need to maybe be more mature or responsible in order for this thing to be built responsibly and sustainably? So it's kind of boring, kind of serious work, but it is important integration work. So let's just let Saturn do that work for the next 5 months with us, making us reflect. That doesn't mean we stop and we don't do anything, but we spend more time checking in within ourselves and say, am I ready? Am I ready? Is this something that needs to be optimized here before I launch something? Okay, so that's happening. Now, on Wednesday this week, there is a beautiful conjunction. The sun is meeting Jupiter. So it's going to be a very, very bright sunny day for all of us. I know online, if you read about it, they will say, go and buy a lottery ticket. It's the luckiest day of the year. I don't see it that way exactly. What I'm saying is this is a golden opportunity for yourself. How you choose to express this and leverage this, it also depends where in your chart this is falling into, right? Indeed, if it is in your second or eighth house, houses of money, very good chances that you could manifest a lot of money around that time, for sure. But there are many other areas in our lives. So just look in your chart where 6 degrees of Leo is, and this is where you're just getting that boost of power, really. And this is a time for expanded vision, expanded belief in yourself. Like, let's just go for it. Let's just feel like we're kind of bigger than life for a day and a half. And it's that quote, what would you do if you didn't have any fear kind of day, right? So step into that higher version of yourself, really. Use that optimism, that joy, and it's really asking you, where are you ready to play bigger? So that's happening on Wednesday. And very shortly after that, we will have the full moon in Aquarius. More on that in a second. Before we get into the full moon, I want to talk about another really big change that just happened today, the 27th of July. And it is the change of our nodal axis. So for those of you astrology newbie, do not freak out. What the hell is a nodal axis? Let me simplify it for you. Nodes are 2 points in the sky. There's the south node and the north node. And nodes are a journey. They point to where we're coming from. It's the south node. And where we are supposed to move to, it's the north node. Now, the nodes are karmic points for starters. So whenever something happens with them, we notice it. Something changes, something shifts. They have an impact on our life, whether we like it or not. And so the nodes are in opposite signs because the south and north node are opposite each other. And they are moving slowly around the zodiac in that pair, if you like. And around every 18 months, they change sign. We are collectively working on a specific opposition, if you like, on a theme. And we are getting lessons, okay? And then 18 months later, the flavor of the lessons changes. And that's what's happening right now. So we have been, in the last 18 months, following the lessons of the Virgo-Pisces axis. They were lessons with letting go of our tendency to overwork, our tendency to burn out, of overanalyzing, doing too much basically, and also being perfectionist. That's a lot of the Virgo trait. And we were called to learn more, to flow, to trust our intuitions and to surrender. The first thing I want to say, now that we've been on that journey for 18 months, is ask yourself, how have I gone during that transit? What lessons have I learned? And may I add, what lessons have I painfully learned, myself included? And I will say, if you have personal planet, like your sun, your moon, your rising, or a lot of other planets in the signs of the node, one or the other, or both, you are in for double karmic power, okay? So the lessons are really next level for you, and they're really more for you, if you like, okay? So that was my case. I have my north node in Virgo, my south node in Pisces. It was definitely a period where I learned a lot about burnout. That happened to me again, and this time I made different decisions as a result, right? So I'm learning. I'm not letting the nodes, give me the same lesson again. Thank you, karma. Got it. Thank you very much. I've really found those lessons, and I'm hoping you did too. Like, I'm hoping there are less people out there that are working so hard, dedicating so much energy and hard work to prove themselves, to get some self-worth, and that are even leaving their health in the equation, and it is highly affected. I hope that we've all moved towards a better balance in that space. and also that we have built that connection with our intuition, and we've realized that it is also another way to live than just working and pushing and hustling and feeling like we need to control everything. That has been the lesson. So take some time to journal, especially if you have a lot of planets in Virgo or in Pisces. Like, what were the situations, the events since March last year that made you work on those things? And so now we're moving into the next pair of signs, and just started today. And we're going to work with Leo versus Aquarius. So like it was for me with Virgo Pisces, if you have got your sun, moon rising in Leo or Aquarius, or if you have a lot of planets in either sign, the next 20 months are going to be full of growth for you. Not mandatorily easy, but they are for you. You know, you are like the short list from the universe saying, we are in particular focusing on you people, and they will change you. And mostly through eclipses, because the nodes activate the eclipses. Okay, so lots of changes coming your way. Let me talk about this pair of sign and what we are working on, all of us, and more in particular those of you who have got Aquarius Leo placement. So the South Node will be traveling through Leo. So it is about releasing some of those shadow tendencies of Leo, which have to do usually with the need for validation, the need to perform. So that can mean I'm performing, I'm not being myself. That can mean I'm performing a little bit too much. I'm being a little bit too center stage kind of person. It also means, you know, I am performing because I need the feedback so bad in order to feel good about myself. So different versions of that we will be feeding into ourselves. So basically releasing the need to perform, to prove ourselves, and letting go of our need for approval, or sometimes also our need to be right a lot. Leo is the royal, you know, it's the celeb, it's the look at me people. That's kind of the shadow side of Leo. And so it's where we're doing some of that, and maybe even unconsciously, which is highly possible, where we may be too focused on ourselves and not seeing other people. And basically, where is our pride getting the best of us? So lots to think about. And Aquarius is the North Node, so where we are moving towards. I think that's beautiful. It also goes together where Pluto is in Aquarius for the next 40 odd years. So it is deeply transforming and working towards the collective. And it's about being more humanitarian, being more mindful of other people and building together. It's about seeking collaboration, meaningful connection with other people. And Aquarius has got this innovative flavor. It's doing things differently in a fresh sort of way. So it's about embracing new ways of living, of working, including embracing technology. I think we are already, with Pluto in Aquarius, obviously seeing that. But we are personally going to also do that and think more community and longer term versus being quite individually minded with Leo, and also embracing all kind of interesting ideas, right? So it's a very intellectual sign, Aquarius. So we're going to be, if you like, thinking outside of the square more and thinking more from a collective point of view. So I think great things are going to come through the world over the next 20 months. So what I want to say is, if you have your birth chart, look where Leo and Aquarius are, especially 29 degrees, because they start there. Which houses are these nodes activating for you? Because that's how you can personalize what I've just said to a specific area of your life. So for instance, if the South Node in Leo is in your work, career space, that means that maybe you need to get off the pedestal at work. And you need to be a more collaborative person, be more of a team player, and care about things that are bigger than you, for instance. And when you do that, you will experience more growth. The common thread of this nodal axis is authenticity. Both of those signs are there to make you more authentic, but in the right way, right? Leo says, be more authentic by expressing your true self. And Aquarius says, feel free to be yourself, to be your true self, no matter what people are saying around you. Two very different perspectives. I looked up some people that are Aquarius because I want you to think who are the role models, maybe, and it's just to give you a flavor of that. So it will be a phase of our life where we're going to try to be more like Oprah, like Steve Jobs, like Barack Obama, Ashton Kutcher, Harry Styles, Billie Eilish, all those people, you know, they break some trends, or they've got that humanitarian forward thinking about them, and quite intellectually as well. So that's what we will be really working on learning in the next 20 months until March 2028. And so the next series of eclipses until then will be on that axis. Other quick shout out to the clients that I have done transit readings for that have placement, and you know who you are, because I have had quite a few that have a lot of Leo energy in their chart, and I talk to you about activating this energy, and it is now. So big changes happening coming up in your personal life, like lots of growth. Okay, now let me move on to the full moon. I have kept the best for the end. So the full moon is happening this week on Wednesday, the 29th, in New York at 10:35 a.m., in London at 3:35 p.m., in Australia just after midnight. So technically it will be Thursday, 35 minutes past midnight. So it's a pretty big moon, I won't lie, because of what it is surrounded with. So we obviously have the Sun Leo opposite the moon in Aquarius. But what's happening is the Sun is right next to Jupiter, because I told you just before there was a conjunction in Leo, and then the moon is right next to Pluto. So for starters, if we look at the actors, it's like a play with 4 players. On the one hand, we have Team Leo, where we have the Sun and Jupiter, not small players, like think big, you know, muscly players. And opposite, we have Team Aquarius, where we have the moon, powerful from an emotional point of view, and we have Pluto, talk about power, okay? So we don't have little guys on the stage, we have a lot of power. And Team Leo is fire, and then Team Aquarius is air. And the ruler of this moon, let's say the Empire, is Uranus, that is in Gemini, another air sign. And it means things are going to happen through communication. Okay, so will it be a big emotional full moon? Not in that typical sense, because it has a lot of air energy. So it's going to be more of a mental release. Being a full moon, things are coming to an end, and you are seeing things that you had not seen before, right? And you're asked to release them in order to make space. And I think this is a very good time, given what's coming at us next month with big eclipses. And there's already been a lot happening. To me, this is the cleanup of the first half of the year. Let's just process everything we've been through, what's worked, what hasn't, and let's release a lot of things once we can before the eclipse will have their way with us, okay? I think to summarize, this moon will set us free. I think that's how I want you to remember it, because because whether you look at it from Leo perspective or Aquarius perspective, it's having that kind of impetus to be your true self, okay? That's the goal of this full moon. So on the one hand, we have the Sun and Jupiter, like I said, they are kind of saying, go big, be yourself, step up, very much, see bigger, very strong me energy. It's time to go after certain things, right? So we have those desires somewhere. Team Aquarius, on the other hand, is saying, whoa, there's some intense things happening under the surface here. And have we grown and transformed enough in order to step into that version of ourselves? Is it done in a way that's healthy? I think is the message of this full moon. And it's kind of saying, before you jump in and you go chasing all those great things you want to do for yourself, have you considered the bigger picture? And have you done the work, really? Because Pluto is deep inner work. And next to the moon, emotional deep inner work, intense feelings in there, especially things hidden, hidden belief, old patterns, power struggles. These are all the core Pluto themes. They're going to be brought up to light. We're going to see it. So we can choose to ignore it and just go la-di-da-da. I'm just going to keep going and chasing my own goal, full Leo style. But then we don't have the right kind of deep foundation for that. So I don't personally recommend it. I recommend to purge what needs to get purged this time and to focus on authenticity really in there. So some questions for you. Where am I playing a role instead of being myself? Where am I seeking recognitions over being my true self? Where am I giving my power away? What uncomfortable truth have I been avoiding as I'm going about my life? So this full moon will highlight, because that's what it does, right? Expose the resistance inside of us with what we are trying to do. Because it's opposing growth with depth, opposing expansion with control. So where we are still holding on, but we're still trying to expand, it's like it's putting those things together and saying, hey, this needs to be solved, because you can't expand Leo style if you've got control issues there that you need to let go of. And where are you maybe too individualistic, too individually minded, and not seeing the bigger meaning, the bigger purpose, and how this could benefit more people as well. So it keeps you in check, this full moon, and it's saying before you really grow, is it healthy? Have you also done the deeper work, not just the showy kind of work? So very serious moon, very mental kind of moon. So it may feel like a lot of mental activity. So my main advice is to sleep under this full moon. Go to bed, because otherwise you may really feel quite wired. But release things before you go to bed, right? Write them down in your journal. The things right now that you're kind of seeing but that are bothering you, it's really the time to go, okay, even if you don't have the full solution, I need to release this, I need to release this, I need to release that. Just do a purge, do a cleanse, and you will feel much better on the other side. So it's a big one. Like I said, we're not going to feel it massively emotionally, especially because Aquarius is a very detached sign emotionally. If you've got any Aquarian friends in your life, right? They don't show their emotions like that. But given the planets involved, Jupiter and Pluto, I think it's going to be big, just in a more intellectual kind of mental way. So things are going to hit us on the head, pretty much. So good luck getting through this full moon. I have a feeling it won't be an easy one, because Pluto is involved. But this is to bring the truer version of ourselves. So it's worth it. It's not there to punish us. It's there to show us where we need to transform more in order to be in that aligned version of ourselves and to move on in alignment with our purpose. So lots of lessons this week. And I think I have spoken enough. And it's enough, right? For 1 week in astrology. Big changes, as I said. Let's just recap. So Saturn moving retrograde, which means we are building our internal capacity to hold that new chapter. Then the nodes are changing, especially if you've got Leo Aquarius placement. You're going to have a lot of growth, and we're going to be leaving behind tendencies where we're too centered on ourselves, and we're going to be learning to be more of a contributor with the world. And also the conjunction before the full moon, Sun meets Jupiter. I hope you have some really great news. You have a big, win in your life at that time, or you're going for something, you're deciding. And then the full moon in Aquarius, which will be a piece of work and a piece of inner work. But you guys know how to work that out, because if you've been listening for some time, you're used to this stuff. So we just have to get through it, release, and we will be in a better place after. And in August, we'll talk about the eclipses to follow. So on that note, good luck for this week, okay? Look after yourself, rest, try not to take on too much, because a lot is going on under the surface. Things are being rearranged a lot. And Saturn retrograde is asking you to slow down anyway. So this is more of a time for maturing and reflecting deeper than going full guns blazing. So good luck everyone. Take good care, and I will speak to you next week. Bye for now.